All right, cold open. Here we go. Charlie.
Yes.
On the last episode, you told me, hey, keeping this cold open because we don't do cold opens. And then you talked for an hour and a half, and do you expect me to keep the cold open in? Because I'm not going to.
No, now, you make a good point. You know what you could do? Put the old cold open into the new cold open. Now, I think that the cold open is now me bitching at you for about ruining the last cold open by talking too long. Though it's, it was a good story and all, but you were like, keep this cold open in. Hour and a half later. Mm-hmm. I am sorry for rambling on for an hour and a half, but I feel like I didn't
I mean, it was a good show, but to demand that I keep the cold open and then talk for that long, I mean,
yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you think yeah, you know what? I can't blame you. Don't keep it cold open. Don't keep this cold open either. Fuck this cold open. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Goloth. How you doing today, Jacob?
I am swell, Charles, and I've got an exciting show for you today. I wrote it today.
You're not a little mentally exhausted?
And that's why I'm excited by it. What?
You're not a little mentally exhausted from the last thing?
Oh, I wasn't talking. You were talking, so I didn't have to. My voice is crisp and clean, no caffeine, except for the show, which may have a little bit of caffeine because it's called Midnight Roasters Cafe.
Oh, I like that. I like the Midnight Roasters Cafe.
Yes. Episode 1 is actually called the Midnight Roasters Cafe and Coffee Shop. Ooh. You'll notice a trend with the episode titles. I've named all the episodes.
Oh, look at you.
So this is, I saw a Netflix show called Midnight Cafe, and I think it's Midnight Diner, I think. I haven't watched it. I have no idea what it's about, but I saw it, and I was like, this is what it's about in my head. So, for all I know, it could coincidentally be the same thing as that show, but I doubt it because...
be weird.
I mean, this is kind of a weird show.
Yeah. Be weird if you just came
Very
up with
strange.
a show that already existed.
All right, so this show is about a guy who's, he's a science teacher, a chemistry teacher, and he's a good guy, but he might, break, not good, but a different word, and he's wants to get into meth because he wants to make meth. Yeah, we could call it Breaking Not Good, I think, is a good title. Yeah. That's it. That's the show.
Sounds good.
Do you like it?
I like meth, and I like coffee, and I like teachers.
Well, that is actually not the show. I hate to break it to you. That was a joke. But this show, episode 1, the Midnight Roasters Cafe and Coffee Shop. We're in the 50s here, so maybe black and white, I'm thinking, because... as you'll see, the time periods change.
Ooh, you love a change.
So we'll say this episode's in black and white.
Fucking love changing time periods.
It's fun. I mean, not a lot of shows just go from, the 50s to the future, so why not?
Yeah, why not? I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying. You love it. You love a good timey-wimey.
And you love good old Jimmy King, but unfortunately he's not in this show. I don't have the rights to Jimmy King.
No, you don't. Only I have the rights to Jimmy King. It's a very, very hard... Yeah, it's very tough. And he'll go into the public domain in 2119.
Yep. That's when everyone could take Jimmy King from you. They're waiting. They got the lines already set up out the door.
Mm-hmm.
But this show, the first episode, we're at a cafe and bar, actually. Ooh. So when I said the title just now, the Midnight Roasters Cafe and Bar, not Coffee Shop. Made a mistake there.
I was going to say cafe and coffee shop seem pretty interchangeable, but whatever.
Yeah.
That might have been a joke.
So it's the guy that runs the cafe, his name is Theodore Fleischtinger. Kind of a long name.
Yeah, kind of a long, goofy name.
Fleischentinger. I could spell that for you, but I'm not going to because
Please
who wants
don't.
to? Yeah, it's a long name. I've got it written out here, but it's who needs to know?
Not me.
Anyway, so he's an older guy, probably late 50s. He's sort of a no nonsense, barkeep kind of type. Mm-hmm. Not really,
like
not
me.
messing around, kind of quiet.
In my late
just
50s.
like you. So he's cleaning the counter as two gangsters come in. So 50s gangsters, suits, probably Italian, maybe Irish, but definitely Italian.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, so they're talking loud, they're disturbing the people. It's not a super crowded, cafe bar. There's a couple in the corner and a family, just like one kid, mother and father.
Yeah.
And an old drunk at the bar just sleeping right on the counter.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is the old drunk important to the show?
He will be. He's not to the show, but to the episode.
Okay. I want to.
He has a small part in the episode. You can do whatever you want.
I want to be the old drunk. Can I play the old drunk?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. You can be the old drunk sleeping on the bar. He doesn't have any speaking lines. That actually even works better because you're probably not the best actor, if I had to guess.
Hey, you don't.
Not that I'm a good actor either.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did high school theater. All right.
Yeah, but this is professional actors.
I could be a professional
actor.
It doesn't seem that hard.
All right. Well, I'll give you a speaking line then.
Yes.
So, they're disturbing the peace, sort of, talking pretty loud. Kai Singh, the young busboy, he's of Asian descent, if you couldn't tell by his name.
I don't assume.
So, well, this is the 50s, so it's just, it's kind of, well, you'll see in a second. So he cleans up their table for them and they sit down because they want a specific table, by the window, and it's, they always sit there sort of thing. And they're laughing and they bully him because he's of Asian descent and this is the 50s.
Yeah.
And that's just sort of how it is.
There ain't nothing you can do about it, baby.
Yeah. So Theo sees, Theo being the bartender, I'm just saying Theo because it's shorter than Theodore Fleischtinger. So he sees, but he tells the boy not to mess with him. Kai listens. He listens. Keeps cleaning the counter. And they call him out some more. And he just, kind of continually ignores it because that's what his boss said to do. Then they approach the counter to the bartender, Theodore, and they said, hey, call me if Jimmy Mathis comes in. Matthias comes in, Jimmy Matthias. And Theodore tells him no, and they threaten him, but that doesn't seem to affect him too much. And instead of continually pushing him, one of them turns to the boy, to Kai, and they ask him the same, but instead of, pressuring him, they hand him an advance of $5, and they offer him another $10 after the call. Theo tells him not to take the money or the call, but they leave the money on the counter, and when Theo's not looking, the boy pockets the money, because, he's a very poor kid. Mm-hmm. $5 is $5, and that's even more money in the 50s.
In the 50s, I'm going to get out a calculator, inflation calculator. I'll be right back.
Yeah, come back to us with the $5 in 50s money. So, in the corner, the couple starts arguing. The man is getting angry, and his girlfriend almost looks a little frightened. And Theo is not paying any mind to it, and Kai looks at him, and it doesn't seem like Theo is paying any attention at all. And Kai is getting concerned because this guy keeps, raising his voice at her. And Kai asks Theo if they should do something. Theo's like, what? Not even concerned at all by the violence. Or not violence, sorry, just, the raising voice. It's starting to bother the family that's in there, too. And because of it, the family leaves. And the argument gets louder. So now it's just the couple and the sleeping old man on the bar, the drunk, who I guess plays by you. So you're sleeping on the bar. And the argument's getting louder.
The
and
$5
eventually,
in 2023 equates to $57.07 in 1954.
$57. That's big. So $10. That's like $100 right there. So this is $150 for him. Pretty nice.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad payday.
Kai's silent, looking on. The family gets up and leaves, and the argument is getting louder. Eventually, the boyfriend, stands up and approaches the woman on the other side of the booth. And Kai's panicking. He's thinking he's going to go and hit her because, this is the 50s. And he's, like, unsure what to do, and he's, like, going to walk over there. He's a little kid, so he thinks he's going to get his ass kicked if he does, but, he thinks he needs to do something. But then he looks over at the counter at the bar, and he sees Theo put his hand on the shotgun under the counter, and he just goes completely still. Because, he's never seen Theo touch the shotgun before, so this is something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
But the man goes up to his girlfriend. He doesn't hit his girlfriend. He just hits the wall, and he sort of, like, walks away crying. So, this was a breakup, is what was going on here.
Okay.
And she walks out in a hurry, and the man comes to the bar for a few drinks before leaving and paying for the hole that's in the wall now.
Good. Someone should pay for it, and it shouldn't be our boy. I'm bad with names, you know this.
Yeah, maybe, when he's leaving, he sees the drink total is a bit higher than normal, and he asks about it, and Theo just sort of looks at the wall, and the guy's like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Punched a hole in the wall, I gotta pay for it.
Makes sense.
So, he leaves after a few drinks, but the old drunk doesn't seem like he's ever gonna leave. So that's you, Charlie, just sitting on the bar for too long.
Yeah.
And so when they're a little bit farther down the counter away from the drunk, Kai's asking Theo if they should kick him out. But this part's sort of based off a short story by Ernest Hemingway. So he's asking if they should kick him out so that, because he's the only guy left in the bar, and Kai wants to go home. And this is bothering him, but Theo's like, some men just need a nice, well-lit place. And you as a bartender should never deny them that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they let the guy keep drinking. And when he leaves, Kai's like, all right, finally I get to go. But that's when another man comes in. So that's a huge disappointment for Kai, because he's like, fuck, I was about to leave. It's getting really late. We got another guy coming in, and Theo doesn't want to close yet.
Because it was the 50s, and...
Yeah. So the other guy comes in, he sits on the far end of the bar, and he's got his head down, he's got his hat tight over his eyes, so you can't really see it too well. And he starts drinking, keeps looking out the window every few seconds, and he's real shifty. So Kai asks Theo if that's Jimmy, but Jimmy doesn't reply, just doesn't even says a word at all, just keeps on getting the guy drinks. And after a few rounds, the mysterious man Kai cautiously approaches the mysterious man and asks him if he'd like to pay, because both Kai wants to leave, and also this is a sly attempt to get a peek at his wallet. So Jimmy the mysterious guy opens his wallet, and Kai sees the name Jimmy in it, so he knows this is Jimmy, or just a Jimmy. And the guy pays his bill and he leaves, and they're closing. While Theo's in the back, Kai secretly calls the mobster, and he tells them, but then immediately they call him like a slur or something, and he regrets it, and he's like, fuck, I shouldn't have called those guys, it's not worth the money, and Theo's gonna be mad at me, and I want his respect.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not saying any of this out loud, it's just sort of the looks on his face that we're getting from this.
Yeah.
And they shut down the shop, things seem calm, and he's like looking around, and he hasn't heard any gunshots, and he's thinking like, all right, so Jimmy, they didn't get him, because I called him late, and maybe they missed him. He's thinking, and on his walk back home, he spots Jimmy, and he yells to Jimmy, and he's like, hey, because he wants to warn him that he told the guys about him, and all of a sudden a car slides down the street, and a Tommy gun pops out, boom, 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 just rapid fire gunshots, and Jimmy is gunned down in the street. Kai's left, just standing on the street as this guy gets murdered in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
But what is he gonna do?
Does he just see him like bleeding out on the street, or does he try and help him, and he's just like holding his like?
Oh, it's not even. He's so many bullets hit this guy that there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
100% dead.
Okay.
And Kai's a little kid. He's kind of scared. Not a little kid, but he's like 16. So he hears the gunshots, and he sort of bolts down the street a little bit, hides behind an alley. But this guy, there was no saving Jimmy. He got absolutely riddled with bullets.
Very, very dead.
And this episode ends on the next day of work, where the mobsters come in and they give him $10.
Oh, what a horrible fucking thing. That sucks, man. Does he do anything?
Yeah.
Does he take the $10? Does he throw the $10 into the bin? Does he, give it back to him? Or is it just him, like, they put the $10 on the bar, they look at him, and then they walk out?
I was thinking he's cleaning their table and they're walking out the door, and then they're like, wait a second. They come back in and they stuff it into his shirt. And they say, good work. Mm-hmm. And then they call him a slur again or something.
No. Yeah.
That's the sort of dirty feeling you get from that episode.
Man, we're making some happy
Episode
shows today, huh?
Yeah. When I first started writing, I was like, maybe I'll do a sitcom. And I was like, nah, I did a sitcom not last time, but the time before, so. I kind of thought you were going to do a sitcom. I forgot you were doing Jimmy King, so.
Yeah.
That's why I went kind of heavy. But the next episode is a little bit more comical, so. None of these episodes are super comical, but sort of the chaos of the next episode is comical in a way.
Okay.
Episode 2, The Midnight Roasters Cafe. So the first episode was called The Midnight Roasters Cafe and Bar. So the second episode, Midnight Roasters Cafe, we lost a word. Or 2 words, I guess, and bar. Mm-hmm. This is sort of the 70s. Very Pulp Fiction-y and sort of the filter, the, kind of vibrant colors, but sort of pale at the same time. Mr. Singh runs the cafe. He's a middle-aged man with spotty hair and a very strict sense of
morality. Oh, I love that. I really like that.
His son, Teddy, is the waiter, and his wife, Mary, works there as well. Mm-hmm. So they're working the cafe. It's a busy day. Maybe they've got some discount on something, some sort of pastry or like a little sandwich that they do.
I was wondering, is Mary the woman who broke up with him? Who did the breakup?
The other guy? No, it's no relation there.
No relation? All right, that's fair. I mean, it's not like mandatory. I was just wondering if there was more connection.
I mean, I'm not gonna delve into it. It's not important. So it could be anyone. You know?
Yeah.
It
doesn't
could be,
matter.
Somebody's daughter. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, it's somebody's daughter, but somebody that I mentioned.
Isn't anyone's daughter. No daughters allowed.
And no one's daughter. Yep. So 4 robbers come in. We got William Bullock, Evelyn Sneed, Jerry Brock, and Wiggles.
I love that. Those are some 70s names, man.
Mm-hmm. They hold up the place. It's full of customers. Because who doesn't rob a cafe? Which is going to be one of the sort of things that's continually mentioned. Like, why are you robbing a cafe? Within a moment, the place is completely surrounded by police, since across the street is the police station.
These are not smart robbers.
So not the smartest move in the book. Panic ensues as William, the extremely talkative leader, so this guy talks a lot, is trying to maintain his leadership while the police are panicking outside because the police commissioner is inside. But no one will say who it is. So the police commissioner is sitting down in the cafe, but there's a lot of people, so they got no idea who it is. And so madness and chaos are just sort of all over the place. Just to run through what's going to be happening in this episode quick is Evelyn is going to be revealed to be cheating on William with Wiggles. So William, the leader.
Yeah.
She's cheating with Wiggles, who is mute. And why she's cheating is because William talks too much, and Wiggles doesn't talk at all because we'll get into that in a bit. But, and so as we have this chaos with the police who can't negotiate, as it turns out, because they need the permission of the commissioner. So, and the commissioner's inside, but they don't want to expose who the commissioner is. This is whole, confusion and everything. And they find out Evelyn is cheating on William with Wiggles, who is mute, as I just said. And Wiggles ends up shooting William for reasons he can't explain because he's mute. But when it gets exposed that he's cheating on, Evelyn's cheating, obviously William is upset So Wiggles takes the first shot, so he doesn't have to worry about it. But he doesn't, like, it's not like a headshot. Like, he's not clearly dead. He just gets sort of shot in the chest, and he passes out, and they shove him in the freezer to sort of get rid of his body.
Mm-hmm.
And Wiggles takes charge, but he can't negotiate with the police because obviously the police can't negotiate because the commissioner's not here. And this guy's mute. Yeah, he can't talk. And Evelyn can't negotiate because they send her out at first, and she's just crazy demanding. Like, she's like, I want to meet the president. I want to stay at the White House. I want all the money in the Federal Reserve. Like, I want everything. And he's like, all right, this we can't,
This is a little unreasonable, even for us murderous, robbers. Like, come on, you gotta be a little bit more sensible about it, Evelyn. What are you doing?
And Jerry's an idiot. So he's not much help either. He can hold up people and he can shoot a gun, but anything that requires the slightest bit of intelligence, he needs somebody that tells him where to go, where to stand, and where to shoot. Mm-hmm. He's not the kind of guy that can make decisions himself.
Yeah. It's kind of like you and
Wiggles and Evelyn, they're trying to come up with a solution here. They can't negotiate with the police. And at one point, they all agree to close their eyes, and the commissioner will signal to the police that they can negotiate or not. And the commissioner supposedly, while their eyes are closed, signals at them to fire. And they all start shooting, the police officers shooting into the cafe, and everyone has to, duck and cover. And when the police stop, the only person that died is the police commissioner.
Oh, no.
And also damaged in the shooting is the freezer and a very cold and injured Williams. This is later in the episode. This is the sort of third act thing that happens here. Mm-hmm. Is William claws his way out and he shoots Wiggles. So he's this is sort of he's blue. He's maybe got like some
icicles coming out of his nose. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And he claws his way out of the freezer and he shoots Wiggle in the back. Just as Wiggles is talking, finally says his first word to Evelyn. And it's I. He just says I, and then he gets shot. And she's like excited because, she likes Wiggles. And he finally says his first word and he gets shot in the head, dies. Like, just blown, his cranium blown off his skull.
Well, I thought it would be funny if she, he said a word and she said, oh, don't you start now. Like, she's like, oh my God, would you please, I can never get away from men who just talk. But he only says one word.
First word, then boom.
Yeah.
So he's shot, and... that sucks. But Evelyn now is alone with William and Jerry. Jerry, who immediately just hops back in with William because he needs someone to tell him what to do, and William's the guy that did that beforehand. And so Evelyn quickly runs out the back door, which just so happens to be where the police are about to break in. And so she busts out the door just as they're about to shotgun the lock and runs into the shotgun blast and gets
bisected
destroyed
by a shotgun.
And the door behind her just slams immediately as well. So the officers didn't even, they didn't even get to, blow up the door there.
Yeah.
And it, throws a wrench in their little plan because the officers are all kind of skittish in the first place. So like her running out, that just, that disrupted the whole thing. And they're, abandon that. It's not gonna work. But things are getting tense here. There's not a lot of robbers left.
Yeah. It's really only two at this point, right?
The police are getting antsy. Yeah, it's just William and Jerry left. And they grab Mr. Singh as a hostage. But as they walk outside with the hostage, because their plan is to just get to their car and then go, the real police commissioner, so the guy that got shot earlier was not the police commissioner. The real one picks up Wiggles' gun and shoots them in the back.
Oh my God.
And that's the final end of the episode. So all this chaos and all this bloodshed in this little cafe with the police commissioner in the end shooting our two final robbers in the back. Doesn't kill them, they just drop their guns and they get arrested.
Yeah, good.
So that's the end. Mr. Singh, he survives.
I like this show.
Episode. Yeah, so it was really dark in the first episode, sort of like a sort of short story sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the second episode is just chaos, robbery.
Like a goofy comedy, a comedy of errors.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like my goal was kind of like. Have you seen Dog Day Afternoon?
No. It's meant to be like.
Anyway, that's the robber. It's not like strictly a comedy, but it's funny in a way that like everything's getting fucked up for them. Like all their plans are just completely thrown out the window, and everything goes wrong all the time. But everything in the moment is serious. People dying is serious. Everything, the people are scared that are inside. It's that's serious. Mm-hmm. But the way everything just goes terribly wrong for these robbers is kind of funny.
It is pretty funny, yeah.
Episode 3. It's called The Midnight Roasters. So we're dropping another word this time. This is in the early 2000s. A coffee shop drug deal goes wrong. That's the sort of the tagline here.
So
So a kid who was just trying to buy a bag of weed ends up with a whole trunk full of meth.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that this shows like its themes are things not going the way you expect them to, and crime. Those are the two things that are in common with every episode.
Crime's fun.
Crime is fun.
I mean, it's not in real life.
Crime is fun,
bad,
and it pays.
So, this the cafe is sort of a cafe retro, kind of a diner thing now, with a woman named Ellie Singh as the manager, and her son, a good-for-nothing kid named Kai, buys the drugs and hides them. He tries to buy weed. He doesn't really even know what weed is. And he ends up with all this meth. And he takes some, realizes quickly that it's not weed. Mm-hmm. Because, things happen that he didn't think were supposed to happen. Actually, sorry, I made a mistake there. He still thinks it's weed because he doesn't really even know what weed is. Mm-hmm. So he thinks weed is, the meth is weed. And that'll end up creating problems for him. But just to run through it. So he ends up hiding the drugs with the coffee supplies, and the day gets busy and accidents ensue with meth being delivered and coffee, and so the customers are having a better experience than they initially anticipated with their caffeine.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be funny if people were like, "This is the worst coffee I've ever tasted. Give me another. Give me 3. Give me 17 right now."
Yeah, they're loving this coffee. And as the coffee gets kind of popular here, he doesn't quite realize that the meth supplies is leaking into the coffee beans, or maybe the creamer would be better. And the drug dealers show up because they're sort of getting word of this. There's a missing set of drugs out there, and they don't know where it is. They're looking for their meth, but it disappeared. The local dealer that dealt to Kai, he sort of lies to them and says like, "Oh, this is the kid took it for me," and they're here looking for the drugs. And so we go through this whole thing, and it ultimately is going to end with the drug dealer taking the fall after Kai tells them the truth, and he finds. So they find out that this drug dealer was actually the one that stole the drugs from him, and hid them in Kai's trunk, and Kai ended up putting him in the coffee shop. And we when he first tells him this, we kind of think that Kai's going to get killed here, and his mom's going to get killed, and they're going to destroy the coffee shop, and this is going to be really bad. But they end up leaving. Mm-hmm. And later, Kai will come into work late at night. This is a couple days, maybe even weeks later. And sorry, before they leave, they tell him like, "All right, we're going to leave the drugs here for now, but we'll pick it up. Just don't touch them, and don't let any more get in with the coffee." So one day he's coming back late at night to clean up, and he goes into the room where he stored the drugs and where all the coffee supplies is, because he's cleaning up, and he sees his drug dealer dead, like nailed to the wall, and the coffee supplies are gone.
Oh no!
Episode. So it's a brutal end to his little story there.
Yeah.
Episode 4, The Midnight. This is a 2010s, maybe 2020s true crime drama. So it's sort of about a wife poisoning her husband at the coffee shop. We got like a very true crime style murder with we're gonna have an investigator, obviously, because who doesn't?
Of course.
It's a crime. How are you gonna have an investigator? But it just sort of surrounds around that. I'm gonna keep going here. Episode 5 is just called Midnight. So this is a far future story, set in a cyberpunk cafe. But it's the same cafe.
Yeah.
This is all the same place.
And
but
it's all the same. And I'm
way
sure
in the future
the
now.
owner is going to be Wang. Or what was the last name?
His name's Mr. T.
Mr. T.
This time.
Oh.
Yep. But related. Yes, they're all related.
What was the name? I feel racist. I got the name wrong, but I feel like it was,
the original.
Yeah.
So it was Kai Singh.
Singh. All right.
But it was the original actual owner was Theodore Feitschentinger.
Yeah.
But his name sort of gets passed down because Kai was the kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mr. T runs the shop, and a young up-and-coming gangster, sort of like a mercenary type of guy, like a hired killer, but like hired guy for jobs. Not just a hitman, but he'll rob a place for you. Sort of a guy, that can get stuff done. And after a heist, he comes in, he's bragging about it, tipping big to Mr. T. His money's on display. He's got a really nice coat. He's got a nice, set of pants and clothes. Maybe a really exotic animal with him. He's tipping. He's bragging to everyone. And the whole episode is like just layers and layers of shootouts and confrontations that slowly destroy the place more. So first it'll be like just a fist fight, and then knives are involved, and then it's gunshots, and it's just different people taking over the score every single time as we slowly destroy this place more and more and more. And Mr. T is going to disappear pretty quickly into this, maybe after the guns first get pulled out. He's doing a lot of cleaning up. At first, he's very timid. It seems like he's, just cleaning up, not bothering anyone too much. But he is kind of insistent that he doesn't want this, this stuff in his place. But he knows that he'd die if he got too involved. But the way this episode is going to end is a very, ultimate big shootout takes out the place. This will last basically the whole last third of the episode. And it's going to end with the last guy, he's all bloody. He's probably missing an arm or something. Like he's torn apart, but he's got the score. And he picks it up, like the big sack of money or whatever. And his head gets blown off. In a similar style to how what's his name? Not William. Wiggles was killed in the second episode. Just head clean off here. With an antique shotgun that Mr. T had under the counter.
Oh, man. Bringing it all around again. The shotgun from under the counter, the Chekhov's under-the-counter shotgun finally gets used. After probably
4 episodes.
100 years.
Probably like 200 years, I guess.
Yeah.
So, Chekhov's guns finally gets used.
Nice.
Yep. You were right. So that's how that episode ends. Episode 6 is just called Coffee. This is the final episode of the show. This is very far future.
Look at us.
It's on the moon.
We did 6, each did 6 episode series.
Yeah, well, I'm running through this a little bit quicker than you did yours.
Yes, you
for
are. For
a reason that might be related to the fact that this is a double recording.
Who could say?
But also because, I don't really need to explain too much about this stuff. You're getting the gist.
Yeah.
That's what matters. Episode 6, very, very, very far future. This is so far that humanity doesn't even exist anymore, and the moon is just like sort of a gift shop for Earth, like where you can sort of view Earth and check things out. And on the moon they have a museum, and in the museum they have an antique coffee shop. And this coffee shop is just called coffee. That's what the sign says. That's all that's left. And it's sort of a mix mash of all the different pieces from the 50s, the 70s, the 2000s, the cyberpunk future.
The 90s, bro.
It's kind of just all cut and pasted together. You can't really tell what really is what, but the aliens that are visiting this are just sort of like, oh, this is the way it looked just like back then, you know? And they're going in and they're looking at it, and they think it's great. There's like a robot that runs the cafe and talks in like it's sometimes 50s, sometimes 70s slang accent, sometimes other stuff. Actually, you know what may be good is it probably talks like a 50s accent, but it's like using 70s and then like far future slang and stuff, so it's very confusing.
I think a sang board.
And the way it pronounces words sometimes is strange, like it's randomly British or it's randomly
French,
very 2010s.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they have what humanity was, but they don't really know enough to
piece it all together,
have it work together. And these aliens are all kind of like, not like derpy looking, but kind of like, not harmful looking, not like dangerous looking.
Yeah, they're not fucking xenomorphs.
Like, you know, one guy's just a blob, one's just like they're not xenomorphs, which we will get into shortly. Because this episode is just basically kind of alien. Because while they're having the coffee, they hear, you know, there's rumbling and stuff, and one of the aliens gets brutally murdered. And because there's a xenomorph-like thing here in the museum, and they have to do a quarantine lockdown. They have to, you know, lock down the museum, and we've got this whole alien-style adventure going on here. And the reveal at the end is that the alien is like this bio horror mix of the old owner's DNA, because in the back of the this diner, one of the owners had died, but they have never recovered his body.
Yeah.
And so it's just been sitting back there for so long, and in the transportation from, you know, Earth to here, it got, you know, infected with this like decaying virus, and it's like it sort of brought him back to life, but it's mutated him in such a horrific way that it's like it's created this terrible xenomorph kind of monster. But they capture it, and they end up sort of repairing it in a way to the point where it's the guy again, but he's kind of just like this blob with a face, like it's kind of just like a head. And they put him in the robot that runs the cafe, and now he's sort of owns it again.
Is this the first guy?
So he's not totally there mentally. No, not the first guy. This is like someone that we've never met before.
Okay.
This is someone that existed between episode 5 and now.
Okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say, that guy's been there, his dead body's been back there since the 40s, motherfucker. You need to clean.
You do.
Yeah.
You do need to clean.
And then he runs the cafe again. Fun.
So it's a descendant of the original people is back in charge of the cafe in the very far future as like sort of a robot, you know, kind of, what is it, cyborg, I guess is what it would be.
I guess.
But more robot than biological person.
Yeah. But that's still cyborg, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is my show. That is Midnight Roasters Cafe. The Midnight Roasters Cafe.
The Midnight Roasters Cafe and Bar?
Well, that's the name of the first episode.
Okay.
The whole show title is just The Midnight Roasters Cafe.
All right. The Midnight Roasters Cafe. I like it. I think it's a fun thing. Of course, some of it's kind of fucked up and dark and scary, but in like kind of a more lighthearted way than other fucked up, horrible, scary things we've done. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it. It was exciting because it's kind of like each episode is
its own little
kind of
story.
embodies the time periods, genres that are popular.
Yeah.
50s a little bit more subtle, 70s kind of chaotic, Pulp Fiction-y kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Got 2000s drugs,
2000s, the worst.
True crime.
Yeah.
And some sort of cyberpunky stuff, and then the aliens, because it's the future.
It's the future, man. Yeah, I like it. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles Long. With me as always, my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, gunner, navigator, orator, and podcasting associate, Jacob Cloth. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog, and tell your cat. We will be here next week with a brand new televisual series for you to imagine and enjoy. Have a good night, everyone. Jake loves you.
I do?
Yeah, you love the listeners.
Okay, well, I guess I do. Goodbye.
Goodbye.